Welcome to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with your host, Rosalind Sedaka. Join Rosalind each week on a journey toward overcoming life's many challenges to achieve peace, empowerment, and positive transformation. It's time to relax, unwind, and transform your life with Rosalind Sedaka.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living. I'm your host, Rosalind Sedaka, and I'm so glad to be with you here on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. This week we're going to be talking about an important topic that affects everyone who's had a breakup, especially a divorce breakup, and that's dating again. If you're a parent, it gets more complicated than just figuring things out for yourself about your own life because you have children who are involved. And those children have delicate psyches, and they have issues regarding how they feel about you, how they feel about the breakup, especially if it involves their other parent, and how they are feeling about you moving ahead and inviting other people into your life. So it's a considerable emotional investment that you've made, and it's a tremendous emotional investment for your children, seeing a relationship break up and seeing you starting to face new relationships ahead. And there can be a lot of emotional turmoil based on jealousy about a new partner coming in, about anxiety of fear of someone replacing mom or dad in their lives, anxiety about they're not being as important to you as they used to be, and a lot of other things that can be very complicated. And so I wanted to address some of these issues about dating after divorce and how you do that when children are involved. The most important point of all is that you must be sensitive and empathic about this situation. And the age of your children will play a big part in how you're going to talk to them about getting back into the dating world and starting to date again. When you have toddlers, obviously it's a different situation than when you have kids in middle school or in high school. And so you're going to be addressing each child in a different way and having a different kind of conversation with them. But the rapport you have with them and the closeness with them will also play a part in this difficult conversation. Some questions that come to mind are, were your children upset and angry at you about the divorce? Were they relieved about the divorce and the breakup? Because depending on circumstances, either one of those cases can be a reality. Did your children take sides in the divorce? Are they more attached to you and clinging and needy feeling than they were before the divorce? And are they anxious about the fact that you may be leaving them and starting to socialize when you go out on dates? Or is there something about any time you bring some new person back home to meet them, is there a lot of anxiety about that? So we have to understand that your children are smarter than you think, and they're more sensitive than you think, and they can pick up on your emotions and also on when you're telling untruths. So it's best to be honest about your feelings regarding bringing another potential partner into your life. You don't want to be lying, but at the same time you have to be very age appropriate in your conversations with them, and don't tell children more than they need to know or more than they ask about, and be extremely sensitive about their emotions when talking about this topic. Also, you want to let your children know that you are healing, and part of the process of healing and feeling better about yourself is getting out and exploring opportunities to meet new friends. It's fine to bring friends into your home who are already friends, who were friends of yours prior to the breakup or the divorce. But bringing new people is a whole different, more sensitive area. So you want to take it very slowly and carefully. And you want to remind your children about how much you love them, how important they are to you in your life, and that your desire to socialize and make new friends and ultimately to date new people has nothing to do with replacing them ever. That's something that they need to hear again and again. Saying it once may not be enough. So having it as part of several different conversations at different times and just reminding them that no one and nothing will ever replace them is very important. Some children believe that if you divorce mom or dad, then you certainly can be divorcing them. And they need to have the reinforcement and the security of knowing you will never, ever do anything that's going to replace them or make anyone else more important than them. And you have to understand that as much as you may seek out a love partner and a love life and a new mate and possibly another marriage, if your children are not feeling good about it, you have to handle that in a way that's going to be supportive for them first. Because bringing in another party when your children are not comfortable, not ready, or if they dislike this new person, you're going to be creating emotional turmoil for every one of you, and it can scar them in many, many ways. So you want to explain that you are still there for them and that you're still going to be the attentive and loving parent you've always been, and that they always, always come first in your life. And you want to be very clear with them that no one will ever replace their other parent either. So regardless of how you may feel about their other parent, you want to remind them that even if you should remarry again and get into another long-term relationship, you are not replacing their other parent for them. You're bringing another partner into your life, but their dad or their mom will still be their dad or their mom. And that is a security factor that's very important for them to understand. In the occasions that that's not the case, when the divorced parent is no longer in the picture, that's a different story. And if that is the case, it often is helpful to get the help of a counselor, a therapist, a divorce coach, a parenting coach, to help you through the process, because it's very difficult for a child to lose another parent unless that parent was so abusive that it's actually a relief for everyone in the family. But that's a small percentage of cases. And in most cases, children want to still be connected with their other parent. And depending on your circumstances, that may be co-parenting on a 50-50 basis or in some other percentage of the time. But you want to honor that and make sure your children never feel that you are pushing their other parent who they love out of their life. And that's so important for you to understand and remember. So you may need to have this kind of conversation with your children many times over the several weeks or months to give your children time to digest everything we're talking about, digest the concept, and also give them a chance to express how they feel about what you're saying. So encourage them to ask questions and to share their opinions. You need to be a good listener at this time. As a parent, we are very comfortable in lecturing, but we're not as comfortable in listening. And listening is a skill that really can give you a great deal of insight as to what's going on with your kids and for your kids. Because if you shut your kids up when they share opinions that may not be opinions you like, and you tell them to stop in some way and don't pay attention to it, or tell them they're wrong, or make them feel shame or guilt or bad for expressing what they're expressing, they will stop. But that doesn't mean you're changing or stopping the feeling. They're just going to hold it in and keep it from you. And that's when it infects on a deep internal level, and it comes out in ways that you don't want to see. Misbehavior for older kids, getting into drugs or promiscuity, for some kids regressing in age and starting to bedwet, or to be a bully, or to actually become suicidal. The consequences of children repressing their feelings moves into so many areas that are not positive for anyone in the family. So you want to really be a good listener, hear what they're saying, encourage them to ask questions, share their opinions, and be patient and understanding about their perspective, even if you don't agree with it. So you can say something to the effect of, I hear what you're saying, you're very angry at me about A, B, C, and D, and I understand that. I can understand why you're feeling that way. Mom is doing her best to do this and that, or Mom is willing to make some changes because of that, or I don't agree with the way you feel about that, but you certainly have the right to your opinion. There's ways of standing firm in what you're feeling and at the same time not disregarding or putting down your child or children for disagreeing with you. Please digest that and understand that and get that, because it's a very, very important piece of the puzzle. Everyone wants to feel respected. Everyone wants to feel valued, validated, and heard, even children. And when we dismiss them as insignificant, or their feelings don't matter, or what they're saying is wrong, even though we may, in the immediate moment, end that conversation, we are not resolving it in a healthy way as a parent and child together. And if you're closing the door to communication with your children, then you're opening the door to much larger problems down the road. And that's where scars, life-altering emotional turmoil happens, and children make decisions about themselves that they're not good enough, or life is a miserable experience, or people don't hear them, or they're not loved, or they're not safe, or they're not secure, or no one cares about what they feel, they don't count, they don't matter. They make those decisions internally, and whether it's true or not, it becomes their reality. So think about that and be very careful about what you say, and then how careful you are in hearing and validating what your children are feeling. There's more about this topic coming up after we take a break. You've been listening to Rosalind Sadaka, divorce and parenting coach, founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network and Women Dating After 40, that is, on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio Channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Hello again. This is Rosalind Sadaka, the founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, dating and relationship coach, divorce and parenting coach, and you're listening to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. So we're going to talk now about ways to be very selective in choosing your partners when you are moving out again and dating. And if you have any doubts and fears and insecurities about moving back into the dating world, then this is the time to do the inner work, the homework as I call it, and work on your self-esteem, boosting your self-esteem, forgiving yourself for any part you may have played in the breakup of your relationship, forgiving your partner not because you are saying that they were right in what they did, but forgiving them so that you can cut the emotional cord that ties you to them so you could move on into a healthy relationship. Forgiveness means not I agree with your opinion. It means I've let it go. I'm ready to move on, and you're not holding on to me anymore. And that's a very important piece of the puzzle. So I want to make sure that if you take any one thing away from this conversation, it's that you should never introduce your children to every new person you date. A revolving door of dates is not good for children of any age, and they can come up with all kinds of assumptions about the people you meet. So you can let them know that you are starting to go out and that you're going out with friends every now and then socially. And if they ask, you can talk to them about that. But don't bring casual relationship partners into their life and into their world and into your home. This can be very confusing for children. It can be disappointing for them. If the new partner they meet disappears and gets replaced every few weeks or every few months, and that's very likely to happen when you're starting to date again. So you want to be very, very cautious. And it's only when you've found a serious relationship partner who you really feel is a keeper, a life keeper, that's when you would be thinking about introducing a partner to the children. So when you find someone that you're seriously involved with, then you want to prepare the children in advance for the first meetings. And those first meetings should be very short intervals together just to get the exposure, and then you build over time seeing each other more and more. So it may be a quick picnic in the park or meeting at McDonald's for a fast lunch, or your new friend can come over and spend an hour or two playing a board game with everyone in the family, or everyone could go to the movies together. But it shouldn't be more than an hour or two. And then ask your kids for their feedback and take it seriously and discuss their feelings and watch how your partner behaves with them as well, because everyone, of course, is on their best behavior and they're on show for these incidents, but you want to be really careful to see if this partner is respecting your children, how they interact with children, do they really like your children. It's hard for a strange adult to suddenly like your children automatically, but sometimes you're with a partner who just isn't child-oriented, and other times you could sense immediately that they're very comfortable with children. You want to find a partner where there's a natural connection and someone that your children like and who like your children. And make sure the children never feel threatened by the thought that they're losing their mom or dad to a stranger, because that's one of the most frightening feelings of all for children of any age, even teenagers. So how you approach adding a new partner in your life is going to affect their long-term relationship with the children as well, your partner's long-term relationship with the children. So these early steps, these early stages in how they meet the children, the attitude, the time frame, the fun activities you have together, how your partner handles kids who are acting out or saying inappropriate things, all of that is going to affect their long-term relationship with the children. So be very careful, be considerate, and be very empathic in all of your actions. Empathic meaning put yourself in the shoes of your children and how they would feel about this. Put yourself in the shoes of your new partner and how they would feel about this, because everyone's walking on eggshells, so to speak. Everyone's on tippy toes. Everyone's trying to be nice and friendly, but you're bringing together a group of people who naturally may not be in the same circumstances together except for you. So you need a lot of empathy. And needless to say, you want to make sure you choose a partner who treats your children well. Never start dating and going out with people without first telling them that you are single and previously divorced and that you're a parent. If that's the case, you want to make sure they know you come with how many children you come with, and that's part of the package that they're getting. Some people hide that fact for a few dates, and I think it's deceitful. Someone deserves to know whether or not you have children and of what age that are coming with you in the package. So if they're falling in love with you, they have to understand that you have children who you love, who you are taking care of, and you don't want to start any relationship with deceit. And if they have children, which might mean a blended family ahead, then it's even more complex, and there's a lot of steps and stages to go through, and you need the guidance of a divorce coach or a parenting coach or a counselor or therapist to help you navigate that, because it really is an area of great complexity, and it can be done and can be done successfully, but you want to be aware of all the challenges that you may be facing. And children who have close relationships with both biological parents are more likely to accept a new parent partner in their lives without distress. So if your child is still close to their other parent, your ex, it is usually easier for you to introduce a new partner because the children aren't feeling as threatened about losing their parent. In my own case, my son always liked the men I did introduce him to because he had his father. His father was always in his life, and he knew none of these men were replacing Dad. They were just friends of Mom, and so the competition wasn't there. So you have to understand that how you approach adding a new partner into your life will affect the long-term relationship with the children, and that you want the children to understand that no one is replacing their other parent. And if they feel safe in the relationship with Mom and Dad, they're less likely to feel threatened by a new adult entering the picture. If one biological parent disrespects or puts down the other parent to the kids, it puts the children on the defensive, and it makes the children much more likely to reject any new relationship partner that enters the family dynamic. So if you've been saying bad things about Dad or Mom, then your kids are much more likely to reject a new partner because there's a competition of who's better and why do you like one more than the other, and a lot of other things that gets very complicated and ugly. So take your time when transitioning into dating after divorce. Move slowly when opening the door to new relationships, because if they're going to be affecting your children, then you really, really want to make sure that you don't have rose-colored glasses on, that you're not being naive, and you're watching carefully, and you're honoring the feedback you get from your children. Sometimes they see things that you're not seeing because you're so eager to have a new love partner or to have sex and to fall back into a relationship. Sometimes the kids see things that you don't want to see. Other times the kids are just being stubborn, and they will play games with you, mind games with you. They'll get stomach aches and have tantrums right before a date comes to your home, and they'll make up stories and try to break you up, and you have to be tolerant and aware that this is children acting out and trying to feel their own power. So this is not an easy area that you're walking through, but it's something that everyone goes through if they're dating as a parent, and I just want to alert you to all of these realities. Put yourself in the place of your children, and that'll help you get insight into what it can be like for them to find that their mom or their dad has a new love partner. And feel free to reach out to a therapist or relationship coach, because that can be very helpful as you transition into this next phase of your life. I do dating and relationship coaching as well as divorce and parenting coaching, and you can reach out to me at rosalindwrites@gmail.com. That's ROSALINDWRITES@gmail.com. You can also get lots of help and support at childcentereddivorce.com and womendatingafter40.com. That's 40. womendatingafter40.com. We have put together several books, courses, and programs for moving on and finding new love in midlife for those who didn't have a happy first relationship or second relationship and want to make sure they get it right the next time around. We have programs for women as well as men. The men's program is mensdatingformula.com, and that is an online program that is designed to help men make the right choices when they're moving on and looking for a lasting love partner. So we have lots of programs for you, and also ongoing interviews at WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, on the Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living program with my co-host, Amy Sherman, who's a licensed mental health counselor. So we're here for you. We have resources for you, and we look forward to talking with you again, because every show is here and designed and created to help you make life more fulfilling, peaceful, powerful, and rewarding in every possible way. So thank you for listening. Look forward to talking with you again. Bye-bye now.